baby. We are back. It is April 29th. It is the Monday following wild NFL Draft 2024, a draft in which the city of Detroit, big props to just the city of Detroit, for breaking a record for the NFL draft attendance. They got perfect weather, but it was also just looked like a great atmosphere, a cool setup. I wish we could have been there, but unfortunately, we could not. But nonetheless, big shout out to the city of Detroit, and also a big shout out to the rest of the Blue Kool-Aid crew that is here to talk about the exact draft and what the Lions did in the draft. So let's introduce the rest of the Blue Kool-Aid crew this year. I'm Big Z. Let's get to the rest. We got Bob.
Hello there.
Red Dog.
Yo.
UJ.
Hello, Lions fans.
And Connor in the new blue unis.
Let's go.
and you got Goff, right, Connor?
I got Jared. I have no qualms about the contract extension. It'll get done.
And you're happy with your purchase. You're happy with your purchase.
I am. Fanatics is kind of cheap. I wish they had stitched the lettering, but whatever. It's still a nice jersey.
All right.
I think it looks
Nonetheless, the city of Detroit had a lot of blue out there this weekend. They also had a lot of black jerseys as well, UJ. And I see you're wearing a black shirt and a black Lions hat yet again. You hate the jersey and you keep wearing black.
It has nothing to do with wearing black jerseys, okay? Nothing to do with it. You can't correlate the two. You just can't.
Ridiculous.
Oh, my God.
You're also wearing
completely unrelated. Yeah. Well, they have green hats for St. Patrick's Day. Doesn't mean they're going to wear green uniforms.
Yeah.
I'm wearing a green hat for the salute the service. Should we make a green Lions uniform?
Yeah.
Should we?
Why not?
Maybe they should.
Boy, yeah. I'll tell you guys, I was looking at that crowd from the drone shots or wherever they're taking, and I was thinking last time I was there it was like 10 below zero. I was freezing my ass off. It was so cold. We were walking around that very part of the city and just freezing.
For the Rams Lions. Right.
Oh my God, it was so cold.
Yeah. But let me tell you what wasn't cold. Brad Holmes' draft in 2024. Red hot yet again. I think we can all agree. We'll get to our grades at the very end, but I think a lot of us like what he did in this draft to a large degree. And so we're going to break it down, our thoughts, each pick one at a time, and then we'll give our grade at the end. So Lions are sitting back, at 29 throughout the night. They see how the draft is falling. First of all, this draft set a record for most offensive players picked in a row at any point in the draft, let alone the beginning of the draft. 14 players before a defensive player was taken, which is pretty wild, including Michael Penix at 8, which is perplexing. Maybe we can talk about that at the end. But anyways, maybe we can talk about that one briefly at the end. But anyway, so the Lions are sitting there. The Packers are coming up at 25, and at pick 24, the Cowboys are up. And I think the Lions are like, I don't want the Packers to get our number one guy on our board, especially at a position of need, especially after Cam Sutton and the way our defense played on the outside at the end of the last season. They trade up for Terrion Arnold out of Alabama, who a lot of people on their board had as their number one cornerback. Now, between him and Quinyon Mitchell, Quinyon Mitchell was the first cornerback taken. He went to the Eagles. The Lions trade the 29th pick and their third rounder in this draft to move up to 24. So basically, they got a 7th rounder back next year. So basically, they give up a 3rd rounder to move up 5 spots to get their guy. We can go around and get our thoughts, but we'll start with Bob. I want to get your thoughts on the Lions draft pick here, corner.
I like it a lot. I mean, this kid, I had Kool-Aid in our mock draft, McKinstry, the other Alabama guy.
Yeah.
But I didn't think we'd have a chance at Terrion Arnold. That's why I wouldn't have picked him. We didn't have any trades in our draft, and I was a little surprised that they moved up, but I'm glad they did because we really need that position, and I think this guy's gonna be good. He seems to have all the intangibles, the whole grit thing, and love of football, and he had. I'm sure you guys have all read this, but when he got benched, I think as a freshman, then that made him. That was his Michael Jordan moment. He's calling it, and he started coming in 2 hours earlier and working hard. And he's done that ever since. He's focused on the NFL, and now Super Bowl is his next thing. So I'm excited about it.
Yeah, Kool-Aid went 41 overall, actually, in this one to the Saints.
Yeah.
But Red Dog, I'll throw it over to you now. Terrion Arnold. I'll just throw a little bit from me. Just his press conferences and all his interviews. He seems like he's going to be a really likable guy to this fan base.
Oh yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh my gosh, like I said this on the day. I didn't pay too much attention to the guy just because, like Bob said, he didn't seem very like a realistic possibility. So he just kind of fell beneath the radar for me. And you just watch that kid talk, and you are right. He is like he says he's gonna be great, and you just like I believe you. It's like yes, like you don't. It don't sound like a joke. He don't sound like he's being like cutesy or anything. Like this guy sounds like he's already understood. Like he's got his eyes set on greatness and has had it for some time. And it's just like no surprise whatsoever that he vibed with Brad and Dan. Like this kid seems like absolutely the right kind of cut from the right cloth for the grit and the Lions mentality. Physically, he's got all the tools. I like him. Like his 40 times not the greatest in the world, but not cornerback. That's not the biggest thing anyway. I just think he's gonna be huge. I think he's gonna be great. I believe him, and I love the pick. I'm not surprised. I was never gonna be surprised with Brad traded in this draft. I didn't know what was gonna happen, but like I had a feeling he might move off of the pick just because he sees his guy, and like we just didn't know who that was. It was so hard to know who that could even be, and he got his guy, man, and it's exciting.
Oh yeah, and UJ 5'11", he's 5'11" and a half, 188. Looking at his 4'5", 40, 152, 10 yard. So pretty good skill set. I mean, the 4'5" is up the slower end to some of the other cornerbacks in this class. But what I think we like to hear is that this guy is one of the best tacklers in the draft, if not the best tackling cornerback in this draft. Also led the SEC in pass deflections and interceptions, first team All-American. What's not to like, UJ?
There's not much not to like here. He wasn't on my radar for the same reason Bob was saying earlier, and I kind of had my own thoughts on this draft, and nothing went the way I was thinking at all. But after the pick and after doing a little deeper dive into this guy, I can only reiterate what you guys are saying. His press conference to me just blew my mind. How mature and how just focused this guy is, and his faith and his focus is just astounding to me. And in fact, I watched the interview 2 or 3 times because I liked it so much. I really like this kid a lot, and I think he's going to be a great asset to this team. Our secondary immediately got a lot better.
Absolutely. And Connor, do you see him as a number 1 cornerback in our future? Or is he going to be number 2 with Carlton? Is he even going to start?
I think he's going to crack into the starting lineup. I don't know if right away he will, but by year end, I think he'll be at least our CB2. And I think they envision him to be our CB1. I think he's got the intangibles. He's very smart. He's very confident without being like asshole cocky like CJ was. Also, what a moment to get like drafted in front of a record-breaking crowd.
Oh my gosh!
And then he took the mic and was like, "Let's go Detroit" and all that. That was awesome.
I'm home.
To get the number 1 cornerback in the draft at 24, only giving up a third, I think it's a huge win and a position of need. It's like the marriage of both things. Huge position of need and the best player they had on their board. You can't ask for any better than that.
Definitely. Super high character guy. I'm a big fan of the pick as well. I'm fine with trading up as well because I think Green Bay was heavily considering him, if not their number 1 on their board. That seems kind of be like the rumblings, if you will. We'll probably never get confirmation on that for a while.
See, there was a report that there was another team trying to trade up to get him too. But the Lions beat them to the punch.
Did they say who the other team was by any chance?
They did not. Just another NFC team, I believe.
Yeah, I don't know how much Green Bay factored into that trade, or I think they just wanted their guy.
They made a weird pick, Green Bay. I wonder if they were looking at
Morgan. I mean, they need offensive line badly. So
a lot of people had him as a 2nd-round guy.
Yeah, I agree. But I'm fine with it. I like stealing from the Packers, getting a guy that also fits our team really well, and them not necessarily getting the best draft pick. So
Terrion thought he said he sensed like it was him and the Lions. He said like from the beginning he just had a feeling. The guy's got the gift.
Did you see that when he did his meeting with the Lions? He told Aaron Glenn, he's like, "You guys got to get me." go up and get me. Man.
So awesome.
So, and they did. So
I love
man.
that.
man. So good.
That's
So
fantastic. And the Lions coaches also said just a really smart guy in all those interviews. That correlates with his GPA in college and high school. So hard worker off the field, good high character guy, not a Cam Sutton, I guess if you will. Yeah, I mean, this is a guy. I don't know if he'll be a starter even by the end of the year. To be honest with you,
He
quarterback.
will be a starter this
you think
year.
so?
Yes.
All right. Well, I think
Wait,
if it is, it's because
there's great competition, though.
Out of
Yeah.
camp, he'll start out of camp first game.
I hope
It
so.
wouldn't.
I don't know
Nothing
about
would
that.
surprise me with this kid. When I just see him talking, just see that look in his eyes, nothing would surprise me if he pulls off the job early. I mean, he's got the tools. So I mean, Amik's good though. So it's still, you got a couple veterans. But he'll learn from those guys. So I think by this year he'll be heavy in the rotation at the very least, if
Day
not
one
winning the
starter.
starting spot.
Mark
Yeah, I
it.
love it. I love it.
I mean, but look at what the Lions did in just one offseason, how they've completely revamped and made arguably the weakness on our team a possible strength that everything kind of pans out the way.
Mhm.
Haven't they kind of done that though through the
Looks
last
like
2-3 years? I mean,
Absolutely.
remember our linebacking crew was so weak, and within the year, a couple smart picks here and there, and all of a sudden our linebacking core was like really good, a plus core. You know,
Yeah.
like whatever they seem to concentrate on, and they seem to just immediately turn around. It's kind of
I
remarkable.
remember when we were all saying that Brad Holmes didn't care about tight ends, and then he drafted the best tight end in the league.
Yeah,
Right.
where did that
Okay.
idea
Couple
even
weeks
come
later.
from?
And here's the other thing they do to do it too. They don't break the bank necessarily for a
Right.
single guy. They don't go all out.
Mm-mm.
They build depth. I think they value depth over star making ability to a degree. Like you have to prove
They
it to
draft
earn
for
your money
stars.
in Detroit. You know, you're not going to earn it without proving it first.
No.
Right.
So, I like Carlton Davis. He's on the last year of his contract. They're not going to extend him until they see like he's worth extending.
I thought we got him
Um,
for 2. We got him for
Carlton
1.
Davis? No, I
Yeah.
believe he's a
No,
free agent
that-
next year.
I think it's the 1 year deal.
Amik Robertson, that's a cheap contract. Obviously, Emmanuel Mosley. If he can pan out, the depth on this roster is going to be insane. If Emmanuel Mosley actually can stay healthy.
Oh yeah.
But then you have Terrion Arnold. Anything else on Terrion Arnold? You guys? I mean, I really like the pick. I think we all agree with that. I think what's underrated is his tackling ability. Because I think we're going to really appreciate that on the outside here, and especially what the Lions are already doing up front with like DJ Reader and stuff. I don't know how anybody's going to run on the Lions this year. To be honest, yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah.
They ain't.
Running backs get stuffed for 0 yards constantly. This
Hey, I
defense.
want to just say one thing when we're on the Arnold pick, not about him specifically, but how about the Lions? Because this is the point where it was on TV. The Lions draft room, don't they have the sickest draft room in the league? They just have an awesome setup in there and the whole energy in there. It looks great on TV. And Brad Holmes, his confidence is off the hook now. Especially since last year, he kept all the receipts and everybody said your draft sucked, and he's like,
Yeah.
and
Right.
he just feeling it.
I
He's
want
just-
that hoodie.
And he confounded Red Dog over there with his
Positional
villain shirt.
Yeah,
that they
I
had
know.
back
Red
in the
Dog
day.
is still confused. I think about that.
Yeah, I'm so confused. I just don't get his fixation on villainy as like a symbol, or like it's just I don't get that at all. Like he's not the
Has
villain.
he always
he's
been fixated on villains? Like to a
Yeah,
large
last
degree?
year-
I
I
mean,
He
remember
wore a
last year he had a
villain
sweatshirt?
sweatshirt one
Yeah.
time.
No,
Exactly
he's
once.
done. It's like multiple times. It's like sort of
Well,
like
you know.
I think it's like his alter ego is like he thinks of himself as like a super villain who's making these like really high-minded, just like high level calculations with sort of like because he has to have a sort of callous sort of approach to things as a GM. I think that's what he's kind of channeling, like because sometimes you got to make cuts, sometimes you got to make hard trades, sometimes you got to just do things that are unsavory in the interest of your team. And I think that's what his whole villain thing
You're
is.
getting there,
I
Red
just
Dog. I
get
don't
it.
think you quite got it yet.
Yeah, you don't quite, you haven't
Keep-
quite reached it.
Keep zeroing in there, buddy.
Yeah.
He'll get there. He gets a
You'll
little
get
closer every day.
You guys are hilarious.
I do like the one thing you sent in our text group with the water of life from Dune. He's got to
Thank
drink
you.
that
I
to
thought that was
truly
a good
find it.
reference.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
If you drink it, you will die.
And then,
No,
and
Drink
then
it, you may see. Red
and
Dog.
then the Lions draft room also had a big, they wore the Dan Campbell black jerseys on the third.
Yeah,
day
yeah,
as
that was
well.
funny.
wasn't
They
it?
did
That
that
was
for
awesome.
UJ and Bob specifically. They said,
Yeah.
"Hey,
Yeah.
tell the Blue Kool-Aid crew we're repping today."
Yeah, it was cool if they had the Campbell things on though. thought
I
that was
just
awesome.
like the camaraderie.
I
is
love that.
very
Yeah.
unique. Like you look even at the Bears draft room, for instance, like everybody's in the Eagles, like everybody's in a suit, and there's 50 people in there. It's like I don't even know why is there 50 people in a draft room in suits. Like
They don't need to be in
all
there.
these people involved in this one pick. I highly doubt it.
I don't know, but
this
the
could be
Lions have
sort of
room
the
for 5 more. You know, we could
I think
sit
you're
in
right.
there. It'd be awesome.
Absolutely.
That would be
Only
cool.
if they're interested in optimizing their organization.
I'd accept the invite.
Sheila,
They should do that as like a charity thing, like sit in the draft room.
Yeah.
I
On
bet those
draft
guys
night.
all got big red marks on their backs though after that draft.
Yeah,
They're
slaps.
slapping each other. Bam, bam, bam. You're like, yeah.
Remember last year when Campbell got elbowed in the ribs?
Yeah, I was gonna say, get
Yeah.
this
Oh,
blood
on
on
the side. It's like,
They
I'd
look
be a
like they're
little
having a blast,
scared.
though. They look like they're having a time
Absolutely.
in their lives. They all look like they just enjoy each other's company. That's a good working environment.
Like
That's culture.
either the Lions are
Yes,
truly
culture.
the team that like really does feel great about every pick, or they've just decided they're going to put on a show for everyone else every time they pick just to make it
I think
look
they do
like
feel
they
great
love
about every pick.
it. No, you're right. I
I think they're
I
extremely
agree.
confident in every pick they make, and they've done a lot of trade ups, and they clearly believe in their guys.
Yeah.
But it almost comes
Yeah.
off like it almost seems like made up sometimes. Just how like especially when you watch last year's draft, like the recap video and stuff, the way they edited together. Like it's just like how did the draft fall this way? It's like they wrote it in a script and like made like a little drama production and like they're like yeah man, like, it's like it's just too good to be true. Like that draft was so ridiculous. And this one's
Yeah.
seen even as more valuable.
hey, Z,
Oh yeah,
you pointed out that my first rounder actually went at 41. Your own guy went at 56.
oh yeah. I'm not
Marshawn Nealon,
denying
so-
that I was incorrect. I did say on the YouTube though, but Jazar Newton also in the second round. Even that my
Hey,
second prediction.
Nealon did
didn't
not
pan
go
out.
in round 1 either.
No.
No,
Yeah,
that's who he's
That's what I'm
referencing.
saying. He went at 56.
Oh, was he
We
a
did go to
one guy?
round 2 at least, so I don't have to eat the bull testicles or whatever.
Jazar Newton, though,
They
that
got
guy
Yeah,
could have been a
that's
first rounder. That guy's going to be good.
I agree. And he went to the Commanders, who had a pretty good draft. I mean, they had a lot of picks. So,
Yeah.
Should we talk about
even
our other
Tim
quarterback?
Ryman, who a lot of people had going in the 5th or 6th round, went in the 3rd round.
That
in
does not
this one.
surprise me one bit.
No, with
That
his
was a
upside,
guy
at
I
least.
wanted so bad. I really
Whoa.
wanted that guy.
A guy that we didn't really talk about in the pre-draft process, probably because we didn't think the Lions would go cornerback to start this draft.
True.
Well, they surprised us. They went with Ennis Rakestraw Jr., Mizzou
Rake straw.
quarterback.
Rakestraw?
Well, there
Is
you
it-
go.
What is it? Rake straw or wreck straw?
I don't know. Rake straw sounds cooler though.
Let me confirm this right now.
Wreck straw
I actually
is an
don't know the
interesting
answer.
version of it, though.
Unfortunately, I don't have the pronunciation.
I like
Usually,
double
this
dipping.
one draft guide has the pronunciation, and I do not have it here.
He's one of the
I believe
better
it's
quarterbacks
Rakestraw,
in the
though.
SEC.
that's
on
okay.
a pretty exciting Mizzou team last year. I like the pick, and he's
So let
got
me
that
give you the
confidence.
Yeah, 5'9", so a couple inches shorter than Arnold. 44 tackles last year, 12 pass deflections,
Huh?
6 interceptions. Another first team All-American,
What did you just?
second team.
He's 5'11".
Oh wait, sorry, I'm reading the wrong one. Sorry, 5'11". Sorry,
Yeah.
5'11", 187, 4'5", 140, and a 10-foot broad jump. So, but let's start with Rud Dog on this one. Rakestraw. We'll figure it out over time. What do you think about the Lions going with a second cornerback in this draft, rather than maybe like Cooper Beebe was there, for instance, like or other offensive linemen, etc.
I mean, like Brad said, he doesn't draft by position at all, and I know it'll take like probably another like 5 years of not doing that to like actually sink into our heads. But he lived up
Your
to
head.
this. Oh no, I got it. Like everyone, like people, like, but I can't tell you how many. I'm just being generous so that I don't sound too judgy. But people are struggling with it, man. It's just hilarious how many people are like, "Oh, I can't believe like he just ignored the edge. Like he didn't draft the edge. Like he said, if there wasn't the guy there, he wasn't going to draft him. He hasn't lied to us. He's been living up to it, and they think this guy's the best guy that was available. And from what it sounds like, he might have been the guy they actually thought they would get at cornerback in this draft. and that Terrion Arnold kind of was like a pipe dream come true, and maybe they had their eyes set on him all along at the end of the second round there, thinking they could actually do that more realistically, and they got their guy. And I mean, hey, look, you watch his play; he is feisty, he's nasty, he's got great movement skills. I think his injuries are the only real like concern in his whole profile. He is a little on the slight side weight wise, only 183, but I mean, I love the pick. I love adding more talent anywhere they think that's good. That I'm all for it, baby.
Absolutely, Connor. Rakestraw thoughts. We're just gonna go Rakestraw. I'm gonna go with
Let's go Rakestraw, sure. I like him. He's an absolute ball hawk, and like he's running around all over the place. Very high energy, like high effort guy. Fits the Dan Campbell mold. And he kind of has that same attitude as Terrion Arnold. Like he wants to prove it right to everyone that they made the right pick. So I think it's a great pick, and I don't mind doubling down on cornerback.
UJ, your thoughts on the pick, and then are you concerned at all with his injury history? He's missed a lot of games in college. Missed 9 in 2021. Played all 2022. It looks like, but then last year missed 4 more games with a groin issue. So he does have some injury history.
Yeah, I'm not overly concerned about it. I mean, when he gets with the Lions, and they're going to take care of this stuff. And they have a way of taking care of their guys pretty well, I think. I just like the fact that they kind of just double down on the position and just immediately turn one of our biggest weaknesses into a strength with the depth and the talent that they can mold themselves. Aaron Glenn's just got to be just fucking jumping for joy with these picks. He just got so much more to work with now to turn this defense into this defense has potential to be just spectacular this year with the depth of talent in the secondary now to complement everything else we have. So I like the pick. I like it a lot.
Bob.
Yeah, I like it. This was a guy I was kind of looking at, when we were doing our draft prep, because I knew we were looking for a cornerback, and thought this guy might be a possibility. What I like about him over like Cooper DeJean, this guy is like his press coverage, his man coverage, he loves doing that. That's like his strength, and I think that with the Aaron Glenn blitzing system that he does a lot of, that'll come in handy. And this guy's ready to cover any receiver. He's very, very confident. But I think he'll be a great fit on this team.
Yeah, and he's definitely a press corner type. I think that's where he is more comfortable, it seems. But he's also a guy that's not afraid to stick his nose in the run game. This seems to be a theme.
Yeah,
with the first 2 cornerbacks taken in this draft, which is not surprising, with the way we know how the Lions like their guys. But he's another guy that's just a kneecap biter, through and through. So definitely fits the theme of where the Lions have drafted. He's probably a little on the thinner side per se. Like what I've read about him is that he's not necessarily going to be a bulky guy, or like there's not much to fill out his frame per se. So maybe that's a slight concern. And then obviously the injuries, but he did play in a lot of man and zone throughout college, so he's very scheme versatile as well, which is something I know the Lions like because, well, we've seen the Lions the last couple of years. Defense is one thing for half season, then they change it up completely the next half of the season. So you need to be ready to go for whatever it is any week in the Aaron Glenn defense. The genius Aaron Glenn, as Connor calls him. So
my guy. That's my guy right there.
Oh yeah. And so Rakestraw, a lot of people, I mean, the drafts experts that at least I follow really like the value the Lions got in these first 2. A lot of people had Rakestraw in their top 50, and the Lions at 61, getting a little bit of a steal there to several people at least that I followed.
I think my favorite thing about this kind of praise is it's just as valuable as the criticism that Brad received last year when he picked 2. It's like, it's nice that it's positive this time, but it's like, oh, our value charts. Like, that was the whole thing he defiled last year and, like, just was like, wiped his ass with and was like, here's your value charts, guys. Let's go have a great season. Like, I mean, this year now, he abided by their value charts and got great value, so he's a genius. It's like, who cares? Brad's just doing his thing, but it is nice to get the praise. I'll take it where you get it, but it is funny.
Wait, you're saying he took the value charts and literally wiped his ass with them and handed them to people? Oh my
Yeah.
God, that's
Very
crazy.
concerning.
To the guys who were criticizing him.
All right. Should we move on to Big Z's favorite pick?
Yeah.
Fourth rounder?
This is something we definitely did not see coming, and no one else in the draft really saw
Oh,
coming.
I thought you were talking about Brad White.
The Lions, well, that, and then at pick number 126, kind of just out of the blue, the Lions did not have a fourth rounder, and they trade a third round pick next year to go up to number 26 to get Giovanni Manu, an offensive tackle out of the University of British Columbia. 6 foot, 7.5, 352 pounds. All right, relative athletic score of 884.
He's
Wow.
a crazy
I mean, just
athlete.
born in Tonga, moved to Canada as a youth. Eventually, he played for the University of British Columbia, played left tackle and guard. I mean, nobody saw this coming.
He's a crazy athlete, but it's a huge development pick.
Crazy.
He's got
yeah,
hands.
five flat 40, pretty much.
Size
I think
of
this is
frying
the pick that
pans.
like shows the disconnect between like
Whip your
the
face,
people,
Frank.
the armchair GMs that do their mock drafts, and like the NFL. He had 11 top 30 visits. Like clearly, the NFL is higher on him than like
Yes,
people
but-
at the
Yeah.
Athletic or PFF. So
Well,
I'm just
the
saying
word
there's a
out-
disconnect.
He was
The
word-
FPL.
The rumblings are that nobody saw him going this high, like by a round or two, even like in NFL GM circles. So
Oh well, Brad must be.
Well, you
stupid.
don't know
that's
though,
what
G-
makes me. I don't hate the pick by any means. I don't love trading a third rounder next year necessarily. That's just a little hiccup for me. Now I'm not the one to doubt Brad Holmes' draft strategy because it's been great, but it does give me pause a little
I
bit.
just think it's kind of funny how all the
Why?
teams that went and interviewed him, we're always saying like, "Hey, don't tell anybody we were here." We don't want anybody to know that we're looking at this guy. so,
Yeah.
so obviously a lot of people like this guy. So,
Yeah.
Holmes says, "I'm not going to just let this guy linger there in the later rounds and hope he's there. Let's screw
Yeah.
it. We'll take him."
I
now."
heard he was going to get
you know,
taken.
The guy's a
Is what I heard.
monster.
Yeah,
that-
I'm sure. I'm sure the Lions feared that. That's why they
Yeah.
moved
Well,
up.
and, like,
right?
The
Right.
Athletic
Yeah.
said he wasn't going to last much longer.
And like you said, Connor, there was a bunch of interest
Maybe.
in the guy. So where the draft pundits had him was different.
I read
but,
one guy
yeah.
who has been following his career was saying like he needs to go to either like the Lions or the Eagles because we
Yeah.
can develop him. And like where better to sit
It was
behind.
a GM. It was a GM in Canada in the Canadian
Yeah,
Football
he
League
come
that said
sit
that.
here behind all these guys, learn from them, and develop that freakish skill set he has. Oh my god, I love it. Are you kidding me? The upside is
I think what-
astronomical.
He said the Lions and the Eagles are the most forward-thinking GMs. In
Oh,
those
yeah.
organizations. That's why he said he liked it.
when
In
I
addition to,
saw
like,
this
the structure.
pick, though, I was thinking that they're going to develop him to be the right tackle, and then when Decker goes, slide Sewell to the left, and then. But they're saying that they want him to play right guard,
guard, yeah.
right.
and they and he's excited about it. He's like, me and Sewell next to each other, man, we're going to be
That would be
unstoppable.
That is beefy. That is beefy.
Oh my god!
At least
So-
on the goal line, I don't know who's getting past that.
I'll tell you what's
yeah.
incredible is the way this guy moves for his size. Though I know his video, his tapes are against Canadian colleges or whatever, but his feet, he's got good footwork and he moves pretty well for a guy his size. But he just dwarfs guys. I mean, you watch those videos, he looks like he's playing these like grammar school kids or something because he's just so much bigger than everybody. It's hilarious.
That same GM, Red Dog, that you mentioned in from the Canadian Football League with the quote, he said his upside is like Jordan Mailata, who's the Eagles tackle. So and like similar sized as well, and he was extremely raw as talent. That I think that's part of where the comparison comes from, like a super raw talent that the Eagles molded into now all pro.
But yeah, that's like
tackle.
how could you have
So,
a problem with that? Like the freakish upside, and like we don't need him. And I love this because this just does show that Brad is looking at the future. Like he's not afraid of throwing drafts at capital at guys who are just like same with Broderick Martin. All the people crying last year. In like 2 to 3 years, we're gonna have all these monsters that have just been brewing on our roster, and when people can be like, "How did they get this freakish roster with all these big, giant, fast, freaky dudes?" It's because we put the time in. We We drafted him in the middle rounds and we developed him, and that's why we're going to be consistently good for years and years to come, because we're just going to keep adding freaks like this.
Yeah, and it does seem like guard is where they protect him for long term, not tackle, which I'm fine with. If he turns out to be a freakish guard, I'd take that for sure. And they don't need him immediately, although he does have to be on the active roster, so he will take up a roster spot. So his name and the way injuries go, he'll get some playing time at some point, or maybe he'll just catch a pass in the end zone if he's a freaking up athlete. Just put him on the goal line or something. Just catch a touchdown. Just got to report all of the
Have him stand in the middle and put his arm straight up on PATs.
Yeah, hey, why not? So that's Giovanni Manu out of British Columbia University. Just a wild draft pick. But here's one that a lot of us probably saw coming. How many people mocked him?
I did.
Not I.
Connor.
Okay, I thought a couple of us did. I know he's on my list, but I ended up picking someone else. But Connor, you did mock him.
My own genius frightens me.
Sione Vake, who they announced as a running back.
I found that interesting.
I've heard that's what he's going to be.
Because I thought they were going to look at him more for safety.
See, Connor, you mocked him as a safety, so you kind of got it wrong.
I didn't mock him as a safety. I just mocked him.
I would
Connor's
never
picking a fight with some roided out crazy athlete. I don't know what his deal is.
I think this guy is going to become that ace special teamer that is going to become a fan favorite.
That's where I think that's why the Lions drafted him where they did. Special teams has more meaning now, especially with the kickoff being in play.
100%.
Well, especially with the way we use our
elite
special teams.
Guys.
Can you imagine doing what Germ does and stuff, getting direct
all
snaps?
the versatile things that he can do.
Yeah, he can provide
defense and
depth
offense.
Safety, in a worst case scenario. He can be everywhere.
Right.
He played primarily safety for Utah, but they had so many injuries at running back that they ended up throwing him back there this season, and that's what that is a word that they liked him a little more at running back, especially with they had him talk with Ben Johnson during his top 30 visit. But that's at least why they think the Lions might like him, because he spoke with Ben Johnson mostly during his visit.
Oh.
But I don't know. I think they see him more as a special teams guy.
I just think.
I wonder if he was a high school bully, because aren't all bullies named Sloan? They're the rich country club asshole.
What? But
Sloan.
Sione.
Oh, he's Sione. Okay, he's a nice guy.
Then he's fine.
Okay.
That's all
Sloan Kettering.
Wow. It's a good theory, though.
I guess if you read it one way. All right, that's funny. But no, I think he's like everything they love in the ultimate gadgety guy. Like, what can't he do? I think they're gonna explore his limits all over the field. I agree, special teams for sure, but offense, maybe defense. Like a kid who can do this kind of thing. They love versatility. This kid's versatile.
Is he gonna kick for us?
Maybe.
Too?
You don't know.
I think Craig Reynolds is going to have to watch his back this year.
Too.
When you need guys who can do versatile things, this guy can do it all. And Reynolds is more of a one-trick pony. He's not so much a special teams guy, so he could wind up beating him out for that job.
Maybe.
Possibly.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So another exciting pick. I'm sure we're going to love him, especially on special teams. Maybe even as a kick returner, potentially. I've read as well. But here's the next one in round 5. Might have been my favorite, just value pick in the draft.
I think we got
Mekhi Wingo, defensive tackle out of LSU.
Yep.
We got him in round 6.
He'd be here, let alone
What's that?
round 5.
Is that 6?
I think we got him in round 6, according to.
Round 6.
I think he was projected.
Was it round
late.
6?
Yeah, 189 and round 6.
189
sorry.
via Houston. Round
I'm just
6.
following a results thing. I must have it wrong. But pick 189. Mekhi Wingo, and this is a guy that's primarily, at least right now, like a pass rusher type D tackle, which they need, especially a 3 technique. But really explosive first step, a little undersized, at least for D tackle maybe, and especially against a run. But I think this is a guy that's absolutely can stick around for a long time as a rotational D tackle, which they need, and he's explosive enough to. I project 3
he's
sacks.
Versatile
for him this year,
too. See, he rushed off the edge at LSU. I mean, he's got the speed to threaten an edge. So I mean, yeah, I love this pick.
Yeah, 485
with a
164
burst.
That's
not bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and again with the character, like this kid, he wore the 18 jersey at LSU, which is apparently some big honor, and he was a captain, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And so again, another high character guy to go with his talent.
Yeah, I like the guy. I think we need depth at that position, but I really wanted them to draft a kicker at this point of the draft. One of those guys. I really did. We still need a kicker. I know we got the guy from Michigan.
I know.
Was the Alabama kicker available at this point in the draft?
I'm not sure, but if he was,
I wanted a kicker, but
because
Vicker went undrafted.
He was. Yes, he went at 203 to the Vikings.
See, I might have picked the kicker.
We have our kicker. He's just not on the roster.
I'm making a hot take now.
Yeah,
he went 1 for 3 the other day.
Bates
on,
my hot take now is you're gonna be happy
51-yarder.
with this. I think you're gonna be happy we didn't take a kicker. Yeah, I think this kid. I just have and if you look at the NFL scouts and stuff, they project this kid as a potential 3-down starter eventually in the league. He's got some really unique elite traits in his speed and burst. I could see him being a staple on our defensive line for years to come. I have a feeling you'll be happy when that comes about.
All right. Well, I'm not against the guy. I just want a kicker. That's all.
Just want a kicker.
Well, Mevis didn't even get drafted. He went
I kept waiting for us to sign him, and then we didn't.
I heard he was at Burger King, and he missed the call, so they picked someone else.
He was training.
Who?
Hey, at least the Lions didn't pick a punter in the 4th round like the Bears.
Hey, that's Iowa's best offensive weapon.
I kind of like that pick. They needed a punter.
Caleb Williams told him you're not going to have to punt too much this season.
I saw him punt live against Wisconsin. He punted many times this year.
Did you say that's a 4th rounder right there? Is that what you told yourself?
I thought he was a classic 6th rounder, but Ryan Poles disagreed.
I just thought that's just way too much. But anyways, so Mekhi Wingo, it seems that we all are very much on board with that pick. Although Bob wanted a kicker at that point. But nonetheless, they grabbed the D tackle. And the next pick, the Lions at number 210 go with Christian Mahogany. Great name.
He's a very important
Christian
man.
Mahogany.
Great
guard
value pick.
Out of Boston
kind of a big deal.
College. Now, this is a guy that at least the Athletic had in their top 100 players.
Yeah, I saw that too.
So it looks like potentially an incredible steal in the 6th round if it were to pan out that way. But any thoughts on Christian Mahogany?
I see Jonah Jackson when I watch this guy's film.
Yeah,
he reminds me a lot of Jonah Jackson, and like you said, he's a top 100 in a lot of people's boards. And I was mad we didn't go offensive line in the 1st round. That's good that I was hoping, but I'll tell you what, he made up for it between these 2 picks with Giovanni Manu and this Christian Mahogany. I think this kid's going to be a player. I mean, he's going to turn out to be maybe one of the biggest bargains in this draft down the road.
Absolutely.
Yeah. If Zietler doesn't re-sign, I think he can slot in there in a year. I saw the description of him, which I thought was great. He plays like a bouncer outside of a club, looking to bash heads with powerful and forceful hands. I just love that description.
That's awesome.
Makes him seem really violent.
So Brad Holmes on why he ran a touchdown too. I was shocked. I didn't think. Yeah, I was gonna. That was the other. What DJ said. He looks like Jonah Jackson in college. I was like, I don't think Jonah Jackson took a handoff for touchdown. Did a keg stand.
He's like Joe Dahl.
Yeah. So Brad Holmes on why he. So I was shocked. I didn't think he'd still be there at this point. I can't really go into details. I can probably point out a thing or two here or there that may have been a reason that we'll keep internally. But there's other players that I probably would have had a lot more questions on that went before. So that's interesting. I'm not sure what those 1 or 2 things are per se.
KJ says medicals dropped his draft
Mm.
stock. I don't know what that
That's
means.
usually the case, but that's a really big drop for a guy with potential. So he missed 2022 with a ACL injury. That's all I can really find. I'm not sure. Definitely run first guy. He has some work to do in the pass game, but if it pans out and he's off the field, it's okay. I think that's
another great one
absolute
though. Where
steal.
that's the great thing about why we didn't need early O linemen. We can get guys like this who maybe have a few flaws in their game and develop them, so we don't have to spend high capital on them and patch up the rest of the team. But that's still more how the board falls than anything, I think. But either way, I love this pick.
And the Lions, this also shows the faith that they have in Hank Fraley, especially drafting a guy like Manu. They really like what they have in the offensive line coach and the way they developed our offensive linemen in general. So I really hope Hank Fraley doesn't ever leave the Lions. But I feel if ever Ben Johnson ever goes, Hank Fraley's going to follow him as his offense coordinator. But fingers crossed that never happens. Let's just stay the way it's been.
Yeah, that could happen.
But that was the last pick of the draft. Christian Mahogany going in the 6th round to the Lions, and then that kind of wrapped up the Lions draft. So before we get into the undrafted free agents, just really briefly, I just want to go around and get everybody's grades on the Lions draft for 2024. We'll start with UJ.
All right. Well, obviously, we don't know what the future is going to bring with this class, but based on our late picks in the draft and the value we got in this draft, I give it a solid A+. Really, I mean, we've turned around our secondary immediately. We've got a couple offensive linemen for the future. A possible defensive tackle is going to contribute right away, and a special teams probably ace. It looks like we've just really added a lot of value to this team. An already good team that is primed for a Super Bowl now, man. I'm gonna give it an A+ based on the value of this draft.
All right, A. Jay said that Sewell has watched the NFC Championship like 10 times, and he's talking about Ron. Said that he wants more than ever the Super Bowl. So,
oh yeah,
gotta love that. So Bob, what is your grade for the 2024 NFL Detroit Lions draft?
Well, I mean, I think the whole draft grading is kind of ridiculous in a way because there's no way to tell. But but because the Lions in my lifetime, I always look at the paper after they do the draft when I was a kid. The Lions, A+ draft, A+ draft. We'd win the draft all the time.
A lot of people give good grades.
And
that's true. That's true.
Unless you're the Falcons.
But it never works on the field. But anyway, I do like what they did, and I like the fact that they got guys who are going to contribute immediately and in areas of need for this year. They did give up, to move forward. That 3rd rounder, that's why I knocked him down from an A+ to an A. So, but pretty solid. I'm very happy with it.
Gotcha. So Bob gives an A. All right, Rud Dog.
Yeah. So I mean, I think that those old grades kind of speak to how the draft is kind of two things. It's one, it's an opportunity to make your team better, but it's also an opportunity to kind of take care of your fan base, and I think Brad took care of us last night or this draft because it looked like it was going to be kind of dull. We're waiting till 29, we'll pick, then we'll wait till 61. Said he trades up, makes a big splash, gets his guy. Next round, we pick our guy, but then, oh no, we got 300 picks till our next pick. No, he trades up, picks within 6 picks in the 4th round, and then trade we bowed out early, but he made it exciting, and we added tremendous value across the board. A++.
Wow, A++. All right, so there you go. Connor.
Yeah, Brad Holmes says you always have to give 3 years to properly grade a draft. So maybe we should go back this summer and regrade 2021's draft.
I definitely want to do
I think
that.
that'd be fun.
A+.
And then next year we can do 2022. Anyways, I think this draft's a solid A. I think in terms of value, you couldn't do much better. I know Big Z, you sent some chart in our chat that had best value
Warren Sharp.
drafts. Warren Sharp, he had the Lions number 1. The Athletic rated the Lions draft 3 overall. So a lot of people are high on this draft. Me too. I think it's a solid A, and it could become an A+ in 3 years. We just got to see how their guys develop.
Absolutely, I'm gonna go with A as well. I don't love giving up that third still. Maybe if Manu ends up being like an all or a Pro Bowler, All Pro, I will maybe take that back. But I just think he would have been available later. That's literally. I don't mind the actual pick itself. I like it, especially if he hits it even remotely close to his ceiling. But I'm gonna give it a solid A, just because I think they picked a bunch of really good players, and there's no qualms with any of them. And I think they're going to fill our... No, probably not. I probably cannot have. But there you go. Producer KJ, do you really want to quick give a grade of the Lions draft? We want your quick thoughts here.
I think A+ for the Lions. They picked all the right players that they wanted to, and everybody seems really happy. So it's A+. Nobody's even stepped on a professional football field yet. So A+ is all around for all 32 teams.
And congrats to having the Florida State Seminole Rams.
Defense of the 2024.
You have half the defensive line from Florida State in LA now. How do you feel about that?
Oh, I like it a lot. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Those Fiske and Verse together were electric last year. I'm excited.
I'm
for
actually
them
jealous.
to translate that to the Rams next year.
Rams had a good draft.
So no Aaron Donald, so a little step back for the Rams for about a decade, but they'll be back someday.
Did you guys like anybody else's? Did anyone else's other teams draft pick out? The one I really liked was the Steelers. Personally, I really liked what they
Steelers had a
did.
great
Who they
draft.
picked?
Yeah, they had a good draft.
Cardinals had a decent draft, I thought.
The Eagles,
And I hate that the Eagles got Mitchell and DeJean.
Yeah,
Eagles
I
had a
know.
good draft.
But it's all right.
Worst draft was the
I
Falcons.
bet
Terrion
Terrion
So
Arnold
okay, so I said I wanted
and
to talk about that.
Ennis
just really
Rakestraw
briefly at the
are
end.
better than Mitchell and DeJean. That's my hot take.
All right. Anyways,
Agreed. But Michael Penix going at 8. What are they thinking? I still don't get it.
That's
apparently,
I don't
Kirk Cousins
get it
was
still.
stunned by the pick. Like they did
I
not
would be
brief
too,
him
like-
at all.
I'd be kind of pissed. Like I just signed $100 million. Let's go get a draft pick that helps us win this year, and then you're picking a quarterback.
Who's
They even
24
said
already?
the Falcons said they picked him because they didn't think they'd be picking this high again for many years with
Many?
Kirk Cousins as their quarterback, and this is their chance to grab a top tier
Is this how
quarterback
Favre
while they
felt
could. That makes no sense.
when
That makes
Rodgers
no
was
sense.
picked?
They did that to make Kirk Cousins feel good.
I'm sure he
I
feels
don't know.
fine after that contract. He's making
Well,
Yeah,
yes,
like-
he's going to be okay.
loads of
Penix
Penix
money.
is
gonna
like
be fine.
old though. Like he's gonna be like 28 by the time Cousins is
Right.
done with that deal.
Yeah, no, 29 or 30 at least in the if it lasts all 4 years
You
of
know
the
that-
contract. So
Yeah, I think he's
because
24.
he's the second oldest quarterback to ever be drafted in the first round. So, and he has a huge medical history. Like there's I 8th overall.
Well-
I know it shocked everybody. except for
Everyone write
the
your
Falcons,
thank you
clearly.
letters to the Falcons because it almost assuredly made it possible for us to pick Terrion Arnold. So thank you, Falcons, for doing that stupid
Right.
thing that you did.
Yeah, really dumb.
Unfortunately, I
Um,
think JJ is going to be really good with the Vikings one day. It's my
I agree.
McCarthy.
Yeah.
I agree.
If he sits for a year, if he sits for a year and they develop him properly, I think he's got all the traits to be a good
Well,
NFL.
I do
quarterback.
like their coach, Kevin O'Connell. I do like their coach, unfortunately.
You know what? I talked to a lot of Bears fans during the draft, and I was with several guys, and a few of them wanted them to draft what's his name, Marvin Harrison Jr., and then get JJ with their second pick.
Oh, that would
They,
have been.
they really
intriguing.
believe that, and that could have been a hell of a combination. But
Yeah, but then the
I just
draft
haven't
value
understood.
guys would have been like, "You stupid heads," because we put all this value on Caleb Williams.
I know.
They
No,
made the
I
right
don't hate what the
I don't
Bears
know.
did. At least at
Caleb's
1 and
probably
9.
gonna be
It's hard
good,
to
so.
fault them for.
I know.
And a Dunze I like
Gosh,
a lot
that,
too.
like,
So
With already the
unfortunately.
guys they got, that'll be. I love that our division.
it'll be a
Our
fun
division's
challenge.
playing catch up right
They
now. This
should be
division's going to be hot, man. NFC North is heating.
The NFC
up,
North is probably the
baby.
most fun division. in
And the Lions
football,
about
for
to
sure
put
now.
our stamp
Yeah.
on
It's
it.
interesting. The Chicago radio. I remember last year at this time, everyone was talking Justin Fields MVP, you know. And now this year they're all excited about you know, Caleb Williams, that they think they're talking Super Bowl. They're like, seriously, the best,
No, he froze.
best
Oh
wide
my
receiver
God.
room in football. You know, we got the hot young quarterback, you know, and
Yes.
so they're talking Super Bowl.
And after
already.
week 2, Bob, they're just going to be pissed and like want to fire everybody. They want to sell the team.
Yeah, we've
Yep.
seen this before.
I kind of
Um,
hope they play
we
the
don't want the
Packers
new
week 1
stadium.
again.
Is
And-
Caleb a
right.
bust?
What do you guys think of that? What do you guys think of the new stadium that they want to build in
I think it's-
Chicago? $2.3
I think it's
billion
cool that they're going to
taxpayer
keep
money.
it on the
I think it
lake.
looks awesome. I don't think they're gonna done.
I'd
Yeah.
love to see them work on the trains or collapsing bridges, or maybe the crime that's going on.
No,
NFL.
stadium.
Stadium's nice too, I guess.
Stadium before
Yeah. Oh
crime.
wait, the Bears must not have a stadium, right? That must be why they're building a new one.
Hey, but
I
taxes
will
won't
say
be
this:
raised.
I'm glad they're not moving it out to like a suburb.
spent
I honestly
differently.
like. It seems silly to me not to keep that awesome spot on the lakefront. It's just too cool.
I think we're going to wrap it up here now. But those are our grades for the Lions 2024 NFL Draft. And also, this will probably be our last podcast for just for a little while, because after the draft, it kind of dwindles down for a little bit. Oh, I did forget to mention really quick. I don't want to mention every undrafted free agent, but there are a couple notables. Isaiah Williams out of Illinois, the wide receiver, got $240,000 guaranteed from the Lions, which is a significant chunk for an undrafted free agent. And the other notable is probably
Shackable?
Kingsley Iguakun. Iguakun. Iguakun? E-G-U-A-Q.
Easy for you to say.
E-G-U-A-K-U-N. The center out of Florida. The Lions brought in 3 centers from their undrafted free agent class. Also gave $60,000 to Duke Clemens
I
on
love
UCLA.
it, baby. Keep adding
Which
beef to
means
that
maybe
O-line.
they're looking at
They're looking
trying
at the
to
future of their
back
offensive
up for
line
Ragnow
here.
or something along those
Absolutely.
lines. Just interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, the rest. The
That-
kicker from Michigan too, James Turner, who I know nothing
The
about
kid
because all they
from
do is
Duke,
kick extra
that
points.
wide receiver, honestly looks a
Yeah.
little more impressive than Isaiah Williams on his highlight reel. If you ask me, he looks a little more explosive. Isaiah Williams is kind of funny. Like,
All right, you should have been in the room when they're negotiating the guarantee
I'm
contracts.
not knocking Isaiah
Yeah.
Williams. Just like he's funny to watch though, because he looks slow but like fast at the same time, and it's weird. And his 40 time kind of suggests that. Like his strides are kind of long, but then he's like shifty, and he like makes people miss, and he's crafty out there on the field. So he's a interesting prospect.
Oh, and shout out to Quintez Cephas for finding a new home in
I
Buffalo.
know.
Yeah.
They got a
His
Hall of
Hall of
Famer
Fame
on
career's
their
back on
team. It
track.
sucks that he's not with us, but it is what it is.
They need a wide receiver, so he has actually a
know.
decent chance of making that roster.
Yeah.
Keon
Yeah.
Coleman went to
Ooh.
the Bills. as
Coleman
well,
and
so.
Cephas, that's going to
Good
be
for
our
him.
nemesis.
And Ricky Pearsall went in the first round. I think we had him in the third round in our
I had
mock.
second.
I had
too.
him in the
It's
second.
some-
I think of
Oh,
mine.
second?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rich
But either
Eisen
way,
thought
first
that was
round.
one of the
I
steals
always
in
felt
the
he would be a
first
steal
round.
in the second, so I don't feel
Yeah.
surprised by that too much, but I'm happy he got taken.
Yeah, good for him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, all right, let's wrap it up here. This will probably be our last podcast for a few weeks.
Hey,
As
Biggsy,
we.
Biggsy, can I interrupt you just for a second? Is this
Yeah.
not, if I'm
Oh,
not
That was
mistaken,
1 second.
okay, do it. Say it.
No, go ahead. You just
Ah.
wanted to interrupt me for 1 second. You said you wanted to interrupt me for 1 second.
I don't
I'll
want,
let you get
I'm
one
not
second.
interrupting anymore.
You
All right.
do what?
Okay.
UJ, say what you
Ask-
wanted to say.
Just ask for
No,
more than
I'm
a
not
second.
gonna say it because I thought you were not going to say it. Now I think you are going to say it, so just say it.
What am I don't know what I'm going to say now. Just say what you're going to say.
You got
On
to
that
say it. This
note-
is our 300th broadcast.
Oh, my
Oh.
God, yes.
Were you gonna
Yes.
I didn't know
say
what
that?
you're talking-
I was going to wrap up with that, but yes, 300. Yes,
That's
I
about
was
the
going to say
right
it at
way
some
that
point.
should have
Not
been presented.
at that exact moment.
That was right.
300th kindergarten
I
class.
didn't want to. I'm
It's
sorry.
perfect
I'm
delivery,
sorry.
UJ.
I didn't
It's
mean to.
perfect.
No, UJ.
Steal
No,
your
it's
thunder
great.
there.
What a great way to say it was
That's
our
about
300 podcast. Because if you have listened to this point and you're still listening to this conversation, then you
You
are
are.
a big part of this 300th episode.
Absolutely, we love you
So,
guys.
big shout out to
Yeah.
our listeners. 300 is
Maybe
that's a good amount.
maybe
That's almost a
Alfred
year's
C.
worth.
Mutlug's in here listening.
amazing.
He was really fun
is
to talk to in the draft.
And what a way to do it! Draft in the 2020 NFL draft, the last draft before the Lions won the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
so,
baby.
pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Pretty
300 episodes. And
Orson Welles never did that. 300
Scott
podcasts.
Lehman.
we of course have to give a big thank you to making it to 300. First of all, from our listeners.
Oh yeah.
And then second of all, from our
Yep.
producer, Kid J, who
Kid
can
J.
crush it. If you haven't got a chance,
He's
go
the
back.
best.
Watch. Don't worry, I'm getting to that. Hold on. If you haven't got a chance, go back and watch. First of all, subscribe
Watch
to our
all
YouTube channel.
300 episodes.
We had our guy
No balls.
Alfred on there who said he struggled to find it, but most of our other listeners are able to find it pretty easily. If you type drinking the Blue Kool-Aid or at DTBK_Lions on YouTube, you'll be able to find our channel. It's got the Kool-Aid guy, or no, the lion smoking cigarette next to the bowl of kneecaps, your classic logo. And you can subscribe to the YouTube channel on there, but go check out our reaction to the draft, to which our producer Jay made a little clip of that reaction, or you can go watch our full night. We had plenty of guests from different fans of different teams coming on there, reacting to their ones as well. But it was good, and Kid J made an amazing live production. So big shout out to him. Thank you, Kid J. So yeah, let's give one more thank you. So thank you for producer Kid J.
Kid
Producer
J.
One of these
All
days
right.
we'll get that right.
Thank you to SidelineReport.com for supporting the podcast. Apple or Spotify regular podcast. Please download. Please subscribe. Please leave a review. Greatly appreciate that. We do have our reaction to that draft pick in the moment and a little snippet on our podcast as well. It's like just 10 minutes long if you want to go back and listen to that.
YouTube short.
Instagram at Drinking the Blue Kool-Aid, Twitter /X at Drinking Lions. Follow us on there. Let us know your grades on this 2024 NFL draft. Other than that, it is the end of April. It is the end of this draft season, and now we're on to the summer months, rookie mini camp, then training camp, and then the start of the NFL season. But maybe we'll come on here. I think the first time we'll hop back on here is when the schedules are released in a couple weeks.
Maybe when
Maybe we can
JG
react to
gets
that
signed.
just briefly.
Wow.
And there could be an emergency pod. You
And
never know.
Yeah, you never know.
Maybe we'll just
You
get
never
bored of not talking Lions. And
All
we'll
right.
just jump on because we love our Lions.
know. Of course. Well, we always do that on the
That's
podcast or not on the podcast. But all right. Well, thank you everybody for listening. We greatly appreciate you listening. We'll be back in a few weeks. But last but not least, as always, go